Mystery+Shuangwen unit plot, the leader of the underworld, Sangluo, came to the mortal world and took over a dilapidated Taoist temple. The Taoist temple was devastated and had no money for incense. She planned to rely on mysticism to bring the temple back to its peak. A female college student with a single mother and fetus. What if there's a male ghost in the dormitory who goes to bed every night and tugs at my feet? Sangluo said, "It's okay, he just wants you to see his sturdy biceps and burn a few beautiful dolls for him." A famous filial son in the village said, "Every day after waking up, my blanket gets soaked through." What's going on? Sangluo said, "Your father's grave is in the pond. How can you sleep? Go and move the grave quickly." The affectionate widower said, "Master, what should I do if my deceased wife pesters me every night to buy cosmetics for her?" Sangluo said, "Congratulations. Your wife has a boyfriend in the underworld." Novel keywords. Quasi-explosive. Boss, she's starting to gossip again. No pop-ups, it's definitely explosive. Boss, she has started divining again. Download the complete TXT collection, it's definitely explosive. Boss, she started divining again. The latest chapter is reading. Chapter 1. Cangyun Temple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Cangyun Temple. I opened a live streaming room for fortune-telling and matched it with the most famous filial son on the entire network. As soon as I came up, I was bedridden by ghosts every day, and when I woke up, the blanket was soaked through. I snorted coldly. Your father's grave has been submerged in the pond. Why are you still able to sleep? Hurry up and move the grave. Asterisk. The sightseeing bus is parked at the foot of Cangyun Mountain. Sangluo walked off the sightseeing car with a fully loaded shopping bag and stepped into the century-old town at the foot of the mountain with a strong sense of history. Tourists stop and walk in front of the dazzling small stalls in the ancient town. But Sangluo walked straight through the ancient town, climbed upstairs, and headed straight to Cangyun Temple located halfway up the mountain. Cangyun Temple looked like it had been in disrepair for a long time, with most of the paint on the two main doors peeling off, giving it a desolate and gloomy feeling. The couplets on both sides of the gate can be vaguely seen. Heavenly officials, earthly officials, and human officials only rely on their officials' hearts without ignorance, seeking blessings, bestowing blessings, and receiving blessings. One must prioritize accumulating blessings. The Green Mountains after viewing are very beautiful, shrouded in clouds and mist, shaded by green trees, like a fairyland in Penglai. Sweeping away the boredom of summer heat, taking a deep breath, I suddenly feel the clarity of the spiritual platform. Sangluo has returned from buying things in the county town. A middle-aged man with dark skin and a smiling face stood in the ground next to Cangyun Temple, warmly greeting Sangluo. Yes, village chief. There's nothing in the temple, I bought some daily necessities. Sangluo's face was calm like water, and her voice was faint. She crossed from her original world to this new world of ghosts and monsters, with more important tasks to complete. Socializing with these people will only affect her speed of making money. Wang village chief chuckled and didn't continue talking to Sangluo. This girl has a very strange temper and is cold to everyone. She doesn't like to talk to people. The Cangyun Temple has been deserted for several years since the death of its former leader. Sangluo suddenly emerged, saying that he wanted this Taoist temple to flourish. The villagers have different opinions on this. Sangluo has a striking appearance, with a pure yet charming aura. Some people say that Sangluo is actually an internet celebrity who came to Cangyun Temple to attract attention. But village chief Wang knew that this girl named Sangluo was actually an orphan who was sponsored by the previous abbot with incense money before his death. Now he must be returning to repay the kindness of the former abbot. Sangluo walked into the main hall, took out the newly purchased incense, drew out 3 sticks, and in a flash in the air, the incense miraculously ignited on its own. The incense burner is filled with incense ash, which is enough to indicate the flourishing incense fire of Cangyun Temple in the past. Sangluo removed the weeds in the courtyard one by one, and wiped the mud of the statue in the hall clean. It was already sunset after finishing his work. Sangluo took out a tripod, put the phone in place, and carefully adjusted the camera. Now is the era of traffic. In order to restore the Taoist temple to its former prosperous state, Jiang Taigong's fishing enthusiasts can no longer be hooked like before. This is an era where even the fragrance of wine fears the depth of alleys. So more people need to know about Cangyun Temple in order for them to come and seek blessings and incense. Sangluo plans to establish the name of Cangyun Temple through the internet. 3 villagers who had just finished farming in the field passed by and saw Sangluo holding his phone, constantly tinkering with it, their mouths chattering incessantly. TSK, let me tell you, she must be a female internet celebrity who came to Cangyun to gain attention. Another villager covered his mouth and smiled. Nowadays, these internet celebrities do everything for the sake of traffic. Maybe they used to be a borderless woman who twisted her buttocks. Sangluo cast a cold eye, and the cold light in his eyes could turn into a blade. The villagers quickly covered their mouths and ran away. She never wants to engage in meaningless arguments with fools, she only uses practical actions to slap them in the face. After everything was debugged properly, Sang came up with a title. Chiman inquires, 2 trigrams per day. Then I pressed the start button. The whale platform is currently the most popular platform in the market, so people came in just 5 minutes after it started broadcasting. Several people entered one after another and left without saying a word, like robots. But Sangluo is not in a hurry. People who practice often meditate, and she is a very tolerant person of loneliness. Half an hour later, Sangluo welcomed a new wave of traffic and suddenly a large number of people flooded in. There's something in this live broadcast room. Can you do divination at such a young age? The anchor seems to be in the Taoist temple, I think he knows it. Shit. Where is such a beautiful Taoist? It's obvious that she's just a Taoist Yuan. Up. Fairy, take a stick at me. In the era of traffic, many people deliberately create some dummy designs for the sake of popularity, resulting in many netizens not believing that Sangluo truly understands metaphysics and only treating her as a fraud. Can the anchor use Chiman to test events? Chiman Duanjia is an ancient secret technique. Do you know it? Don't pretend. Upstairs, please don't be so malicious towards women, okay? As long as it's a beautiful sister in the Taoist temple, you all think it's Dao Yuan. That is to say, the heart looks dirty everywhere. Sangluo saw that the 2 factions on the public screen were arguing fiercely. He looked up and said, first, test the past situation. If you think it's accurate, then pay the divination gold to test the future. How much does a hexagram cost? It's very important. Sangluo opened a gift mall and flipped through it. A goddess descending is a divination. I'm going for so much. How about grabbing money? A goddess descended 999, which is enough for half a month's living expenses for me. What kind of family does it cost 2,000 yuan per month to live in? I only have 1,000 yuan per month. If I can't afford it, I'll quietly watch the beautiful woman. You can even steal money directly, but you still pretend to help me with some divination. The audience all thought that 999 yuan for a gossip was too expensive, and they were hesitant about it. However, Sang only received over 400 yuan, and the platform still needs to deduct a portion. Sangluo glanced at the upper right corner, and the current number of people had reached 50, but none of them were willing to gossip. They all said she might as well just grab the money. Sangluo didn't have a red face either. She knew that everything is about fate, and she just needed to wait quietly for the destined ones. These people took turns talking about her here, which indirectly increased her popularity. As the heat increases, more people will come in. The anchor can help me calculate a divination. Sangluo's eyes lit up slightly. You apply for a video connection, and we can start. The seeds of injustice have arrived. Does anyone really want to spend 1,000 yuan on divination? The boss is confused. A user named Jinli Possessed sent a connection request, and Sangluo agreed to connect. The interface instantly split into two. A young man with a scruffy beard and a very thin physique appeared on the screen. He was wearing a yellow work uniform, like a delivery man from a certain food delivery platform. He squatted next to the green belt on the roadside, took his last puff of smoke, and threw his cigarette butt on the ground. The koi possessed and rewarded a goddess for descending. The other party didn't wait for Sangluo to test his ability, so he directly brushed a goddess to descend, looking very cheerful. Delivery drivers are really making money now. I heard many delivery drivers nowadays earn 10 to 20,000 yuan a month. I don't want to attend this broken class for a day anymore, on a monthly basis of 1,008, laughing every day. I am a person from the bottom of society. I graduated from junior high school and didn't have a good job. My girlfriend, whom I had been talking about for 7 years, also broke up with me. My only living mother also had cancer. I only have 1,000 yuan left all over my body, but I have spent all my money on you. If you can't calculate, I will die with you. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. You will never turn over in your lifetime. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. You will never turn over in your lifetime. When the koi possessed herself and said these words, her eyes were dim, her voice was hoarse, and her face was covered in stubble. Her image of being forced into despair by life and not wanting to live suddenly appeared on paper. The netizens in the live broadcast room seemed to see themselves on him, so they spoke up one after another, without paying any attention to the slightly threatening words behind him. Don't lose heart, brother. I also graduated from junior high school, and a few years ago, I was also very down and out. In recent years, I have suddenly become wealthy due to good luck. Yeah, life goes up and down like this. It's normal to have difficulties. Anchor, hurry up and return the gift to him. He's so pitiful. Why did you give him a free divination? That's right, it said that the heart of a practitioner is good, so just treat it as doing good deeds. Sangluo raised her eyebrows slightly, and a hint of disdain appeared at the corner of her mouth. People nowadays are the most skilled at moral kidnapping. What do you want to be? Counting my financial luck, can I still turn things around in my life? I can't flip it in my lifetime. Sangluo didn't think too much and almost blurted it out. The koi's possessed face changed, and he bit his back teeth hard, trying to restrain his almost explosive emotions. Anchor, you're too extreme. Did you curse people like this? Anchor, your words are likely to be the last straw that breaks the camel. Please be kind. This is too much RNM. Refund. The netizens in the live broadcast room were very angry about Sangluo's arbitrary statement that even if a koi possessed her, she would never be able to turn over in this lifetime. After all, no one was willing to spend money to make things worse. Koi possessed himself and saw so many netizens supporting him in the live broadcast room, but he no longer held back. Why? Why can't I turn over in my life? I was born without a father, and my family has been struggling since I was young. I have no talent for studying and dropped out of school early. Running takeout in the summer can make me sweat out of my clothes. Unfortunately, there are also those foolish people who complain about me if they don't get along. My salary has been deducted from the complaint. Unfortunately, my girlfriend of 7 years broke up with me at this time. It's really heartless. Sangluo picked up the nearby teacup, took a deep sip, and said expressionlessly, I deserve it. That's too much. Let's all report this live broadcast room. Yeah, I've never seen such a cold-blooded person before. Just say she's a catching Dao Yuan. If you turn around and have money, how can those 7 babies who died before they were born feel at ease below? As soon as Sangluo spoke these words, the koi possessed her and felt a little flustered. Her pupils slightly dilated and she became a bit stuttering. You, what are you talking nonsense about? Your girlfriend has been with you for 7 years and has had 7 abortions. She always thought you would become mature and responsible one day. But you have repeatedly disappointed her, and now you dare to scold her for having no conscience. Who gave you face? Is this true? Could it be the anchor's nonsense? If that's true, this delivery man is too extreme. The harm of having 7 pregnancies to a woman's body is so great. Yeah, his girlfriend hasn't left for 7 years, and now that she's gone, I guess she's also in despair. The koi suddenly stood up from the ground with a strong emotion. Do you believe what she said? She's just an internet scammer. I want to report to the police to catch this scammer. Sangluo smiled lightly and said, your name is Song Shan, 28 years old, born in Yuan County. When you were 8 years old, you broke the leg of a child in the same village and went to junior high school. You liked a girl from the next class, but she didn't like you. So you spread rumors everywhere, and the girl had no choice but to transfer. Your mother is your only relative. A woman raised you alone, but you have been gnawing at home for many years and even contracted gambling. Your mother fell ill to pay off your debts and contracted cancer. The koi's neck was so angry that it turned red. If she gave birth to me, she will have to care about me for the rest of my life. Who let her give birth to me? Oh my goodness, this person has too much skin. I have never seen such a shameless person before. Unfilial son Sangluo ignored the defense of the koi possession and continued, after your mother fell ill, you lost your income, so you had no choice but to come out and take out food. But you have a bad nature. Not only do you steal customer takeout, but you also like to spit inside. You feel like you're living too miserable, so you want those who live better than you to eat your saliva, right? How disgusting. The takeout I ordered won't also have saliva, will it? You can skip stealing food. Why are you still spitting in there? It's too bad, isn't it? I won't order takeout again in the future. Not only that, but you also came to threaten those single living girls who gave you negative reviews with a knife. It was because of this that your girlfriend broke up with you. You said you wanted to report to the police to arrest me. You reported, and I saw if the police came to arrest me or you. Sangluo usually didn't say much, but what this Jin Li possessed and did made her extremely angry. The koi possessed herself and saw that everything she did was exposed, like a person without underwear exposed in front of everyone. She was both shy and angry, so she decided to break the jar and throw it. It was me who did it. What's wrong? I'm just jealous that everyone is doing better than me. God is unfair. Fortunately, the girl broke up. Maybe this kind of person will do something wrong in the future. Can this kind of person still deliver takeout? A socially dangerous person, go to the platform to report him. Otherwise, I don't know how many people still want to eat his saliva and be threatened by him with a knife. Yes. Report him. Koi possessed himself and was very afraid that the people in the live broadcast room would report him. He lost his job, but he couldn't find another job. He didn't want to starve to death. He looked around and finally locked his gaze on a nearby trash can, where a stray kitten was rummaging through the trash for food. The koi possessed himself and gave an evil smile to the camera. You want to report me, right? You wait. After speaking, he ran unsteadily to the trash can and aimed the camera at the kitten. The kitten was completely unprepared, thinking that the koi possessed it just like the humans it had encountered before, to provide it with cat food. Meow, the kitten meowed sweetly to the camera. He wouldn't want to take action on the kitten, would he? Little kitten, run. He's a bad person. Oh my God, I dare not look anymore. The koi possessed and grabbed the kitten, pinching its neck with one hand, while fiercely saying, I'm at a dead end now. If you dare to report me, I'll throw this cat onto the road and let the car run over me. If I lose my job, I'll beat up a kitten every day. The people in the live broadcast room saw this scene and stopped calling the platform's reporting hotline. They left messages in the live broadcast room asking Koi to take possession and let go of the kitten, but they did not report it. Sangluo disdains this, as the more you fear him, the more he becomes more determined. I advise you to change your name. Don't call it koi possessed, call it baby spirit possessed. Sangluo stared intently at the face possessed by the koi. He had a black aura in his forehead, and the red blood in his eyes was as dense as a spider web. Red veins appeared on the bridge of his nose. This is a sign of being haunted by evil spirits and about to die. The evil spirits that haunted him were the 7 babies he forced to kill. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. A thief entered your home. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. A thief entered your home, what are you talking nonsense about, said the koi, whose body was possessed by Sangluo's gaze, making his heart furry. Sangluo smiled faintly and said, your 7 children have asked you to go down and accompany them. What are you talking nonsense about, stinky woman? You better not let me know which Taoist temple you are in. Otherwise, I won't spare you, said the spark in the eyes of the koi. He actually threatened the anchor, danger, this person is so twisted, call the police, kid, don't be crazy. In 3 seconds, you will have a bloody disaster. Sangluo was not intimidated by the threat of koi possession at all. By the way, I'm at Cangyun Temple. She also promoted the Cangyun Temple where she was. The anchor's mouth is high, it seems that every fraudster likes to say that people have a disaster of blood and light few. A small car flew over the green belt and hit the koi enclosure directly. There was chaos on the opposite side of the video, and then the camera turned upwards without any sound. In no time, the ambulance sounded, and the voices of several doctors and nurses came. The patient's pulse has stopped. Are you really dead? Shouldn't it be? Ambulances have all arrived, this phone has really good quality, the anchor's mouth has been too bright. The anchor is also so amazing, a worthy divine calculation, this anchor has something. Sangluo hung up the connection that the koi possessed and said, there is still 1 hexagram today, waiting for someone who is destined to come and calculate. The people in the live broadcast room have experienced the incident with the delivery man just now, and have gained some trust in Sangluo's ability. They have all followed her, and in no time, Sangluo's fan base has increased to 500. The little rabbit rewarded a lotus pond with moonlight, iris flowers rewarded a koi, building material brother Wang rewarded a music box. The people in the live broadcast room gave gifts one after another. With the blessing of these gifts, the popularity of Sangluo's live broadcast room quickly rose to 100,000, and the platform pushed a wave of traffic to Sangluo's live broadcast room according to its mechanism. A fortune-telling live broadcast room. The anchor is so beautiful, Dao Yuan, let's go. Let's go. The anchor is not Dao Yuan, she has real talent and practical learning. The anchor is very impressive, just follow them a bit, investing in stocks won't be a loss. The people in the live broadcast room chattered incessantly, and many enthusiastic netizens excitedly popularized the recently fallen miraculous deeds to the new netizens in the live broadcast room. After the verbal altercation just now, Sangluo's mouth became a bit thirsty. He got up and poured out old tea, added a pot of new tea, sat in front of his phone, patiently waiting for the next destined person. Anchor, help me calculate. Meow girl sends out a goddess to descend, here comes another generous one, won't it be as disgusting as the delivery man just now, right? A user named Meow Xiaomei applied for a connection. Sang landed and connected. A girl with neat bangs immediately appeared on the screen. The room behind the girl was covered with various cat stickers, and the floor was also covered with cat carpets. Even her pajamas were cat-like, making her a cute girl who loves cats very much. The anchor sister, I suspect that something unclean has entered my room, said Meow, with tears streaming down her eyes as if she had cried before. Sangluo carefully looked at Meow's room, which was clear and bright, without any dirt. What do you say? After I got home from work today, my cat became particularly strange. It had never been like this before. She was really scared, otherwise she wouldn't have been so impulsive to spend 1,000 yuan on divination. As she spoke, Meow little sister aimed the camera at her cat. A pure black cat hid under the table, covered in fur and constantly gasping at Meow little sister. Its round eyes emitted a strange green light. Black cats are very spiritual and can see ghosts. This seems like a cat seeing a ghost. It's so terrifying. During the day, it's either chest or legs, and at night, it's either dismemberment or ghosts. I've developed my skills. The anchor can help her drive away ghosts. This cat has really seen evil things. Sangluo looked at the time and then began to gossip. Chimen Duanjia is a combination of time and matter, without the need for using 8 characters or anything else. Just record the time when the diviner starts reciting, place the 3 wonders, 6 rituals, 9 stars, 8 gates, and 8 gods in the 9-palace grid, and combine them with the heavenly stems and earthly branches of the year, month, day, and time to form a plan. Using Chimen to measure events can also maximize the privacy of the questioner's birth date and 8 characters. Sangluo glanced at the hexagram and smiled slightly at the corner of her mouth. The anchor smiled. Life and death are unpredictable. This smile, I'm afraid things are not that simple. There's nothing dirty in your house, it's just a little thief inside. What is it more terrifying to invade a thief? Little sister, please check if there is anything missing in the room, also need to check if there is anything else, be careful of abnormal camera placement. Meow girl nodded and quickly ran to check. I didn't lose anything, and I didn't have much. It is difficult to detect with a pinhole camera. There's nothing missing from this thief picture. Can it be someone the little sister knows? Maybe a pervert who likes to enter a girl's boudoir. Sangluo glanced at the wide-open window behind Meow and said, "Did you forget to close the window before you left?" Meow looked behind her, and her heart suddenly panicked. I ate luosafen last night to get some ventilation. I forgot to turn it off when I went out this morning. Can't there really be a pervert coming into my room? Run, run, run. Maybe the pervert is hiding under your bed. Mom, it's so scary. Sangluo shook his head and said, that thief has already left. After listening, Meow little sister breathed a sigh of relief in an instant. From the perspective of Chimen, this thief is in Sun Palace, where Sun represents the southeast with the wind. He is now on your southeast side, and Sun Palace has fallen into the greedy wolf and broken army, indicating that this thief is very greedy and likes to eat, and his combat power is also extremely strong. Do you want to go find him? Don't go, Meow little sister. He has strong combat power and is very dangerous. Yes, it's important to save your life. What if we don't go and uncover him and harass him again in the future? I think we can call the community security to catch him together. Yes, what if we don't catch him and harm other girls? Meow thought for a while and said, I'll call the security guard and go catch him together. Sangluo smiled and said, actually, you don't need to call the security guard, you can handle it alone. Is it really? I'm a bit scared, said Meow, half believing and half doubting. In the end, Meow Xiaomei went downstairs and called for the security guard, following them towards the southeast side of the community. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Thieves appear. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Thieves appear on the southeast side of the community where Meow little sister is located. There is a small forest that is pitch black and cannot be seen clearly. The security guard waved his flashlight around and didn't see any thieves. Miss, where are there any thieves here? Who told you there were thieves in our community? Our community has good security and strict access control. The security guard's face was a bit unpleasant. He worked diligently every day and strictly enforced access control. How could there be a thief? Sorry, security guard, it was a master online who told me that my room had been hacked, said Meow, feeling embarrassed as she scratched her head. Upon hearing this, the security guard became even more unhappy. Don't believe any masters online, they are all scammers. Your cat may have become abnormal only when it's in heat. The conversation between Meow and the security guard was clearly heard by the audience who were watching the live broadcast. The anchor is smashing it. Refund, refund. Facing netizens clamoring for her refund on the screen, Sangluo simply raised an eyebrow and said, "Meow girl, you and the security guard can go behind the thickest tree in the forest and take a look." Meow girl glanced at the security guard and gave a pleading smile. If the thief wasn't caught, she might have spent every day in fear. The security guard sighed helplessly and walked towards the forest with a flashlight. Then, standing in front of the thick tree, he raised his head high and shook the flashlight impatiently, saying, "Take a look for yourself. Where is there any thief?" Now these little girls are really annoying, they actually believe what the internet masters say. Sangluo looked at the awkwardly looking Meow girl across the screen and whispered encouragement, go take a look." Meow nodded and walked to the back of the big tree. Ah! Meow girl jumped to the ground a few times in fear of the dark figure behind the big tree. Some netizens in the live broadcast room are not sure why, and some are not willing. "Can you stop making such a fuss in the evening? The most annoying girl screams all the time. What is it?" "I see a dark ball, do you see it?" "Not seen, I also saw it, upstairs, don't be too tired of women." The security guard standing on the side felt a little uneasy when he saw Meow little sister like this. He had just walked over with anger and didn't even pay close attention to what was behind the big tree. Shouldn't there really be a thief? He quickly ran to the back of the tree and shone a flashlight, feeling delighted. "Xiaojun, why are you here? Your mother has been looking for you all day." Meow girl looked in the direction of the flashlight's light, and saw a child about 7 or 8 years old, curled up behind a tree trunk with both hands holding his legs. The trunk was thick, hiding his thin and small body tightly. If you don't walk around to the back of the tree trunk, you won't even be able to see a child hidden behind the tree. Xiaojun saw someone coming and rushed out from behind the tree with a whoosh, then ran away. The security guard grabbed Xiaojun's arm as he saw him about to run. As a result, this little soldier had a hot temper and opened his mouth, biting the security guard's hand into a huge bloody hole. The security guard endured the pain and called other security guards in the community to subdue the struggling little soldier. After a while, Xiaojuner's parents arrived. Xiaojuner's father kicked him hard when he saw him, and Xiaojuner's mother stepped forward to stop him. Xiaojun's father suddenly went berserk and said, "It's all your fault for getting used to him day by day. That's why we caused this catastrophic disaster. The child he hit has already been admitted to the ICU, and the doctors say he may not be able to endure it anymore. What do you say to his parents?" Meow girl stood on the side, feeling a bit lost. The onlookers in the live broadcast room exclaimed upon hearing these words. "No wonder the anchor said this little thief has strong combat power. How could a 7 or 8-year-old child knock his classmates into the ICU? The anchor is really amazing, too accurate, right? Why did this child enter Meow's room? Turns out this little child caused trouble and ran away from home." Xiaojuner's mother hugged him in her arms, tears streaming down her face as she said, "Son, you haven't come home all day and you don't have any money. Are you starving?" Xiaojuner shook his head and pointed to Meow. "I ate the grilled chicken breast from her cat bowl." Meow girl. At this point, everything has come to light. Meow girl lives on the first floor and forgot to close the window when she left home. When she saw the chicken breast in the cat bowl, she was extremely hungry and flipped inside to eat. Xiaojuner is a useless boss who likes to bully small animals the most. After finishing the chicken breast in the cat bowl, he even beat the little cat up. The cat was frightened, so it exploded its fur. "Little brat is really annoying. Why do you still hit the cat after eating someone else's food, not just hitting cats?" He even got his classmates into the ICU. If this child is not educated, he will eventually cause great trouble in the future. His mother is too fond of him. Everyone must remember to close the window when going out. After understanding the matter, Meow little sister finally calmed down and returned to the room. "Thank you, Anchor. You are really amazing. You can even calculate the direction and personality of the thief accurately. Now I can sleep with peace of mind. Remember to close the window. The anchor is really amazing. they have all figured it out accurately, that child is so hateful. Why don't the anchor draw a talisman to punish him? If this child doesn't punish him, he will definitely harm society in the future. Sangluo looked at the roast in the broadcast room and pinched his fingers. This child was born with an extreme personality and caused trouble everywhere. At the age of 13, he would provoke a senior social thug and eventually die at the hands of that thug. No need for her to manage, the wicked will be sharpened by the wicked. Sangluo straightened her collar and said, let's just finish today's gossip. Let's do it again for the next live broadcast. There are too few hexagrams, I haven't read enough yet, beautiful sister, it's time to go now. How long will it start broadcasting next time? I also want to do some divination. I also want to calculate peach blossoms. Sangluo looked at the question on the screen and said, it starts broadcasting every Friday. If you have any more calculations, you can come directly to Cangyun to find me. Her main purpose in doing live streaming is to make Cangyun Temple more popular, so she can't broadcast it every day, once a week, to boost her fame and attract those who don't make it to the audience. Dripped in the rain and kept walking, rewarded 10 goddesses for descending. I walked in the rain and rewarded 10 lotus ponds with moonlight. I walked in the rain and rewarded 2 dreamy castles. Just as Sangluo was about to start broadcasting, a netizen named Yu Jilu suddenly came and gave him a gift of 100,000 yuan, putting Sangluo's live broadcast room on the headlines. Anchor, could you please leave for now? I have an urgent matter to deal with. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Redefining Photographers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Redefining Photographers. The tycoon is here. What kind of family? You can get 100,000 yuan with just one swipe. Faced with this series of gifts, Sangluo felt a bit embarrassed. She had agreed to gossip twice a day, but she didn't want to break the rules on the first day of live streaming. Yu kept walking and saw Sangluo delayed in responding, then quickly chased after him. If the anchor is willing to help me, we will still pay a lot of money after the matter is completed. Thank you. Sangluo's eyes drooped and he said, you can apply for a video connection. Money without making a profit is a fool. Sangluo received the application for video connection, with the screen divided into 2 and a couple on the opposite side. The man looks in his early 30s, wearing a pair of golden framed glasses, and has a very gentle demeanor, but with triangular eyes, a sunken treacherous door, and an eagle-hooked nose. He looks very shrewd and not a good person. The woman looks a bit older, with a dignified appearance, a kind face, and a very particular attire. The blue gemstone around her neck is the same size as the egg she ate in the morning. But there was a black aura on her forehead, her lips turned purple, and a sign of impending death. This gem blinds my dog's eyes. I dare not even buy such a large glass necklace. This rich woman looks a bit familiar. Enron, the CEO of Tiantian Food Group, this man is a parent-child blogger who often shares his daily life with his son. Yes, I have also watched his video, it's very interesting. Unexpectedly, he was married to the CEO of Tiantian Food. The spicy tripe noodles of Tiantian Food are incredibly delicious. With so much money in a happy marriage, what other troubles do we have to consider? You two are husband and wife, and have been married for 10 years. The woman is older, 45 years old, and the man is 31 years old. After marriage, she gave birth to a boy from a wealthy family, but the division of labor at home is somewhat different from most families. Your family is the female protagonist who earns money outside, while the male protagonist takes care of the children at home, right? Sangluo first revealed the basic situation of the two. Surprisingly, the rich woman is already 45 years old, not at all visible. I thought it was only around 35. Money can support people. And Ran nodded and said, yes, Tiantian Food is an industry left for me by my mother. When I returned from studying abroad at the age of 20, I took over the family business and was busy with work all day. I never got married. Fortunately, when I was 35 years old, I met my husband and gave birth to a son a year after marriage. Sangluo smiled and said, you have achieved success in your career and also love your husband very much. so you must not have come this time for marriage and career, but for your son, right? Enron lowered her eyes slightly and said, yes, our son has run away from home. I want to ask the master to help me calculate the specific location of my son. Enron's husband also spoke up at this moment. Actually, I don't believe in fortune-telling or facial recognition at all. But just now my wife saw that you helped a family find a runaway child, so she wanted to give it a try. After finishing speaking, the man with glasses paused and added, if the master can help us find our son, we are willing to offer 1 million as a thank you. Then the man with glasses left the room. Enron took a piece of paper from the bedside, wiped away her tears, and said, it's all my fault. I don't have the chance to accompany my child usually. Today, I promised to take him to the amusement park. But there was something unexpected at work, so I broke the promise. As soon as I came back, my child wasn't at home. Sangluo listened to their narration, nodded, and then began to gossip. Half a minute later, when the hexagram appeared, Sangluo's face immediately froze. Not good. Their son has already died. The murderer is Enron's husband, and in 10 minutes, Enron will also die in his hands. Enron's husband fabricated a fire, and the man with glasses had just left, so he went to the kitchen to prepare. He wants Enron to die in front of countless viewers in the live broadcast room, so that he can clear his suspicion. The anchor's expression is so strange. Their son also threw his classmate into the ICU, upstairs. Those who shouldn't be shaking are clever. Don't shake. Sangluo has regained his expression and must make Enron leave this demon's side now. You go downstairs to an intersection, and then I will help you find your son. Enron was a bit puzzled. Why is this? Sangluo replied, I'm asking the gods for directions and looking for your son's direction. You need to reach the crossroads to be sure. Enron didn't hesitate. As long as she could find her son, she was willing to do anything. Why didn't you need to find a thief before? Yeah, didn't you just use Chiman to start a divination and find it? Strange and strange, the master has her own arrangements. As soon as Enron got together, she heard her husband talking loudly in the kitchen, wife, are you thirsty? I made you a cup of tea. The voice of the man with glasses is getting closer and closer. Before Enron could respond, Sangluo hurriedly said, stop. Don't go out again. Enron was a bit dazed. Why was she just asked to go to the crossroads and suddenly changed her mind? Why? Sangluo furrowed her eyebrows and said, do as I say. Your son is already dead, and the next one to die is you. Hurry up and close the door, then lock it. Isn't it a plot of seeking wealth or killing a son or wife? The message given by Sangluo was too explosive, and Enron couldn't react for a moment. What? Sangluo saw a hint of disbelief in Enron's eyes, so he continued, your husband's name is Wang Bin. Before marriage, he said he was a photographer. When he returned home this afternoon, your son was not at home, and neither was your husband. He told you that he took on a shooting task from a former client and went out for a few hours, right? Enron nodded blankly and said, yes, it's all right. She couldn't believe that her husband, whom she had loved for many years, had killed her biological son and wanted to kill her. So he swallowed his saliva and pretended to be calm and composed. So what if you're right? Does this prove that my husband killed his biological son? I also feel that it's impossible. This father loves his son very much and just offered $1 million reward to find him. Yes, I have read this father's daily sharing and he loves his son very much. It's impossible. Yes, the anchor must have miscalculated. How could a biological father possibly kill his own son? Seeing the full screen of distrust, Sangluo had no choice but to add, your husband is not a photographer at all. Before meeting you, he was just a pervert holding a phone and taking pictures of girls' skirts everywhere. Enron twisted her eyebrows together and said, what? Redefining the photographer, he's really a photographer. I found it on the website of the People's Defense Bureau. A habitual criminal who secretly took pictures of skirt bottoms was posted on the website, and he looks exactly like Sister Enron's husband. The National Security Bureau is a specialized agency for maintaining public order in this world. It will publish photos of criminal record holders online, so that the public can be cautious when they see them. I also found it. It's true, this man has a lot of background information. This man has also been involved in online fraud before. On the importance of premarital investigation files, this person's city is so profound, and upon careful consideration, he is extremely afraid. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Soul-Fixing Talisman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Soul-Fixing Talisman. Enron saw comments from netizens and quickly climbed onto the website of the National Health Bureau. When she saw a photo of her husband, she believed what Sangluo said. As soon as she thought of the murderer right outside the door, her hand couldn't help but tremble. What should I do? What should I do? He wants money and I'll give it to him. Why do you want to kill your son and then kill me? Sangluo replied, what he wants is all your property and control over Cangyun food. As long as you and your son are still alive, he can only be the head of the family forever. Enron's hands trembled uncontrollably. When I first met him, he said he was willing to be a full-time dad. How come he wants a career again now? Can you get along with him if he doesn't say that men are rarely willing to be door son in law? If a man puts down his self-esteem and is with you, there must be greater interests behind him. Beasts. This afternoon, he had already taken the child to the mountains to kill him, and it was not a regular client's filming mission at all. Upon hearing this, Enron couldn't help but burst into tears. If she didn't break her promise this afternoon and took her child to the amusement park, wouldn't she be able to avoid this tragedy? Dong! 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 The knocking on the door sounded. Enron's husband has arrived. Enron looked at the door and bit her lower lip tightly, pretending to be calm. Husband, what's going on? Wife, I made you a cup of tea. Come out and have a drink. Sangluo immediately said, don't go. There's sleeping pills in the tea. He wants you to fall asleep and create a fire accident. Enron covered her mouth with one hand and froze in fear. What should I do? What should I do? Outside, Enron's husband became impatient and said, Wife, what are you doing inside? Bang! 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 Hurry up and open the door for me. Enron's husband began to forcefully hit the door with his body. Upon seeing this, Sangluo quickly got up from his chair and walked to the cell behind the Taoist temple for a few seconds before quickly turning back. In my hand, I have an extra talisman seal. This is what she just went to the dormitory to draw. The talisman paper needs to be kept away from people and fully focused in order to take effect. She sandwiched the talisman seal between her index and middle fingers, lightly twisted it, and in front of thousands of people in the live broadcast room, the talisman paper ignited on its own. A circle of pale blue flames gradually burned from the outside of the seal script to the inside, and the cinnabar-colored runes on the talisman paper also began to change color, shining brightly. Sleeping Slot, how did this talisman ignite? At such a critical moment, are you still drawing symbols here without saving people? The anchor probably wants to use this talisman to save Enron. Right-click. The door has opened. Enron's husband held a teacup in one hand, and a strange smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Wife, why don't you open the door for him? He's not good. Enron held her head in both hands and said, No. I'll give you all the money you want. Don't kill me. Enron's husband completely ignored Enron's plea for mercy and approached him step by step with a wicked smile. The talisman paper on Sangluo's hand gradually burned out and turned into ashes. At the moment when the seal script burned out, Enron's husband suddenly twitched a few times and fell to the ground. Can this talisman seal work even across the screen? A master is a master, and the talismans and seals drawn can be used to find the right person through the internet. This is really amazing. Enron couldn't believe it, got up from the ground, walked up to her husband, and kicked him hard, but there was no response. Master, Did he fall under your spell and die? Sangluo shook his head and said, I just used a soul-calming talisman on him, which can temporarily put his divine consciousness to sleep. He's not dead. Although Sangluo can draw talismans that threaten human life, she cannot do so. In this world, she must abide by the rules of this world. Hurry up and call the person from the Civil Defense Bureau, otherwise he will wake up soon, Sangluo reminded Enron. Enron nodded and said, Thank you very much for your life-saving kindness, Master. After I handle the matter properly, I will definitely come to Cangyun to personally thank you. Sangluo nodded and said, Then today is over. See you next Friday. Under the reluctant persuasion of a group of fans, Sangluo closed the live broadcast room. After closing the live broadcast, Sangluodian activated the wallet function on the whale platform. This live broadcast lasted for 4 or 5 hours, which was indeed tiring, but the harvest was good. In total, she earned 200,000 yuan. Although the platform wanted to deduct a part, she could still get 100,000 yuan. She clicked the withdrawal button below and the money was credited to her account in less than a minute. A satisfied smile appeared at the corner of Sangluo's mouth, and then he opened the shopping app. Since doing live streaming is feasible, she definitely needs to purchase some live streaming props to come back. Desktop computers, cameras, and microphones are essential. After a while of being rejected, Sang added everything he wanted to buy to his shopping cart. Just as she was about to make the payment, a short message suddenly flashed above her phone screen. Your debit card account 9996 was disbursed 99,999 yuan on July 28 for ghost salary payment. The balance after the transaction is 1 yuan. The smile on Sangluo's face instantly disappeared, and he pinched his fingers to calculate the date. Today is July 1st, and it's payday. Looking at his account with a balance of 1 and his shopping cart with a total price of 30,000, Sangluo had to turn off his phone. Continuing to clean up the dilapidated Taoist temple. The mountain where Cangyun Temple is located is a famous summer resort in Rongcheng, so at night, the cool breeze blows and passes through the hall. Sangluo, whose heart was already cold, couldn't help but tremble. Turning around, I went to my sleeping quarters to find a piece of clothing to put on. However, while flipping through my clothes, I accidentally stumbled upon a large wooden box. Sangluo opened the large wooden box, which was full of various magical tools. Bagua mirror, peachwood sword, 3 clear bell, 5 emperor's money, wood rui, purple gold gourd. Sangluo thought for a moment and realized that since he couldn't spend the money in his own account, he decided to make some magic tools and go down the mountain to the ancient town to exchange with merchants for something he wanted. But these magical tools are already covered in dust, and it may have been a long time since anyone made a spell to bless them. To light up a magic tool, it needs to be purified first. There are 2 methods of purification, one is water method and the other is fire method, but there is no bagua furnace here. Sangluo had to resort to water purification. There are 4 types of water available for water purification, one is regular water, the other is spring water, the third is heavenly water, rainwater, and the fourth is noon water, yang water. There are no rivers around Cangyun Temple, and it hasn't rained tonight. Sangluo had to use the water from the ancient well in the temple to purify these artifacts. The ancient well is under a withered peach tree. When Sangluo was fetching water, he saw several dried snake corpses by the wellhead with strange patterns. There were no such snakes in Rongcheng, and it was unclear where they came from. After Sangluo finished fetching water, he placed the magical tool in the main hall, his feet together, and his hands made Tai Chi Yin-Yang seals. The sky is clear, the earth is spiritual, the 5 directions and 5 paths show great power, the divine powers show forgiveness, the rotation is non-stop, and urgency is like a law. After Sangluo finished shouting the spell, the magic tools placed in the hall immediately flashed with golden light and then returned to their original state. Sangluo put a huaimu rui in her Tai Chi bag and then went to rest. She planned to use this rui to go down the mountain and exchange for a computer tomorrow. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Yin Snake Gu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Yin Snake Gu. A drizzle began to fall from Cangyun mountain. The rain is as cold and transparent as the morning mist, drifting down one after another. Sangluo carried a dark blue Tai Chi bag on his body, locked the door, and planned to go down the mountain to find a destined person. He used the Huaimu Rui in the bag to exchange for a desktop computer. There is only one stone step road from Shanxia ancient town to Cangyun temple. The villagers of Cangyun village live on both sides of the stone steps, and at the end of the stone steps is Cangyun temple. When Sangluo climbed yesterday, he counted and found a total of 999 steps. From the perspective of yin and yang, odd numbers are yang and even numbers are yin. The steps of a yang house must be odd numbers. 9 is the extreme number of yang, usually only used in the temple of heaven where the royal worship of heaven is held. The cultivation of Cangyun temple at the end of the 999 steps is enough to show the status of Cangyun temple thousands of years ago. A Taoist temple that has been passed down for thousands of years suddenly declined without leaving any successors, which is really strange. Sangluo followed the step by step towards the foot of the mountain, reaching the 483rd level. Several yellow and green flower snakes flashed past the stone steps and shuttled into the nearby grass. On Sangluo's originally calm face, a hint of surprise suddenly flashed. This snake was of the same species as the snake corpse by the ancient well in Guangzhou. How could the unique snakes from other regions appear in Rongcheng? Sangluo murmured to herself. Sangluo was puzzled and prepared to continue walking down the mountain. Within 2 steps, he ran into Wang village chief and his wife who had just returned from the mountain. Nyo, this strange disease won't pass on to us, will it? Lu Lan, the wife of village chief Wang, cried with a mournful expression as she tugged at the hem of his clothes. Upon hearing these words, village chief Wang immediately turned black and said, "You unremarkable girl, if you can spread the word, do you still plan to not let us girls go?" Lu Lan was so anxious that she slapped her palms with the backs of her hands and said, "Nyo's strange illness must be over. Then we both need to survive, don't we?" She looked at the evil thing that her daughter was infected with. It was the same as the symptoms of the leader of Cangyun temple and his disciples a few years ago. How miserable she died. When she recalled the scene of those Taoist priests collecting corpses at Cangyun temple, she was afraid. In front of the child, "What are you saying about this? Every summer, don't girls make a scene like this? Just wait until winter." Village chief Wang tried to persuade his wife. Sangluo looked over Wang village chief's shoulder and saw a little girl wrapped in a blanket lying on his back. It was midsummer and extremely hot, but the little girl's body was tightly wrapped, leaving only 2 round eyes exposed. The eyeballs were pitch black, so black that they turned red. The white of the eyes was gone, and the entire eye socket was a dark red color, as if a few drops of blood could be squeezed out at any time. Nyo can't endure this winter anymore. Although Nyo only showed her eyes, Sangluo could see that the girl couldn't even endure this summer. Following the direction of the sound, village chief Wang raised his head and immediately saw Sangluo standing on the stone steps. In her heart, she was very unhappy and said, "What do you know, girl? Nyo always does this every summer, and it gets better in winter. Nyo has been suffering from this disease for 3 years. It starts to affect her every year after the awakening of insects, and she recovers after the frost, isn't it?" Sangluo said with a faint flick of her lips. Village chief Wang nodded laboriously, as if his head weighed 3,000 pounds. Nyo has been bitten by the Yin Snake Gu, and her internal organs have been almost eaten by the snake. What? Wang village chief had an incredulous expression, and a hint of panic flashed in his eyes. Sangluo girl, do you have a way to relieve the Yin Snake Gu on our girl? Although he didn't believe that this young girl's film could save his daughter, after all, the old master of Cangyun Temple couldn't solve this addiction. What could she do as a young girl's film? But he could truly feel that the evil creature on Nyo was becoming more and more rampant. His own daughter was probably going to die soon, and Sangluo was like the last straw to him. Lu Lan was unhappy and said, "Her father, are you in a hurry? What can this little girl understand? She pretends to be in the Cangyun Temple all day long. I see she's clearly just a white-boned spirit talking nonsense here, deceiving people with her lies." Sangluo raised an eyebrow and said, "There are ways, but if you don't believe me, then that's all." After Sangluo finished speaking, she buried her head and prepared to continue descending the mountain. She shouldn't have been too involved in this trivial matter, being accused of being a fairy for no reason. Wait a minute. Girl, don't leave yet. Village Chief Wang chased up Sangluo with Nyo on his back. The woman's family doesn't understand anything, don't care about her. Just help her, help Nyo drive away this evil thing from my family. Lu Lan was about to speak when he was killed by a glance from Village Chief Wang. Sangluo looked at the grass where the few flower snakes had just escaped, and then at the courtyard where the nearby Wang village chief's family lived. "Did your girl pull out a few snakes a few days ago?" "That's right. That's right." Wang, the village chief, showed a hint of joy on his face. He didn't tell Sangluo about Nyo's situation, and Sangluo could speak up. It seems that Sangluo really understands. "Alright, Sangluo girl, come with me to our house and then speak slowly." Sangluo nodded and said, "Let's go." Wang village chief led the way with Nyo on his back, Sangluo followed behind Wang village chief, and Lu Lan followed behind Sangluo. After arriving home, village chief Wang placed Nyo on the bed. There was a brass basin next to the bed, and there were still some blood stains in the basin. Wang Cun sighed and said, "This monster is really strange. Every year after the startling insects and spring thunder, Nyo starts to bleed from her 7 orifices. When frost falls, she miraculously recovers again. I don't know why." After listening to village chief Wang's account, Sangluo nodded and said, "This snake venom has been present in your girl's body for 3 years. All things come from earthquakes, which turn into thunder. Therefore, it is called Jingxia, which means that insects are startled and flee. After Jingxia, snakes and insects appear, and the snake venom in Nyo's body begins to move. Therefore, every year after Jingxia, she begins to develop diseases. And after the frost fell, the snakes and insects should hibernate again, so they calm down in Nyo's body, giving you a false impression of healing without cure. Snake, 3 years is an adult. This year happens to be the 3rd year, and the snake is already an adult, so it ran out of Nyo's body. But Nyo's internal organs have already been bitten by them." Upon hearing this, Chief Wang couldn't help but burst into tears in his eyes and said, "So, is this still treatable?" Sangluo nodded and said, "We need to take antidote to promote the regeneration of organs in Nyo's body." "So, what do we need to do?" Sangluo turned her head and looked at Nyo lying in bed, her eyes tightly closed. Then she walked forward and opened Nyo's eyes, carefully examining them again. Turning to village chief Wang, he said, "Go prepare an egg laid by a black hen, then prepare a black thread and a sewing needle." End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The Death of the Old Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The Death of the Old Master. Okay. After listening to Sangluo's instructions, village chief Wang turned around and went to search for the items mentioned by Sangluo. It's not difficult to find an egg laid by a black hen in the village. After village chief Wang left, Lu Lan hesitated outside the door and entered the house. "My girl, this evil thing, won't be passed on to us, will it?" This is her biggest concern. Sangluo glanced askance at Lu Lan and said, "I don't know. Lu Lan cut her throat and said, "Don't lie to me. A few years ago, the old abbot of Cangyun Temple also fell for this kind of evil, and later his disciples also fell for it. What else can it be if it's not rumored?" Speaking, Lu Lan let out a long sigh and gritted her teeth, saying, "It's all my old man's fault. If he doesn't send Nyo to Cangyun Temple to learn magic from the old master, my Nyo won't be infected with this evil creature either." "Are you saying that Nyo has also been to Cangyun Temple as an apprentice before?" Lu Lan nodded and said, "Yeah. In just 2 months since I went to Cangyun Temple, all those Taoists have died. Those who died are really miserable. TSK 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 TSK. Lu Lan grinned as she spoke, waving her hands incessantly, as if those miserable situations were in front of her. "After those Taoist priests died, I brought my girl back. I didn't expect that soon, my girl also began to have those symptoms." Sangluo carefully listened to Lu Lan's account of the past, and then he sorted out the background of this matter in his heart. The Taoists of Cangyun Temple were first attacked by the Yin Snake Gu, but due to their strong Taoist techniques, their bodies did not show any excessive reactions. By the time they discovered it, it was already too late. And Nyo should also have been in the Taoist temple where those Taoists discovered that she had been poisoned by Gu. However, Nyo's body was weak. When the snake Gu entered her body could clearly feel every moment of the snake's growth. The source of this snake venom is the well in the Taoist temple. The production of snake Gu requires putting countless types of venomous snakes into a jar and letting them kill each other, leaving behind the snake king. Then put the snake king into the well and let him lay eggs. If someone drinks the eggs laid by the snake king, they will be hit by the Yin Snake Gu. Snake eggs will slowly hatch and grow in the human body, until 3 years later, the snake becomes an adult and breaks through its body. The host's life has come to an end. So, the few dried snake corpses she found at the wellhead last night should have been killed on the spot by the Taoists after running out of their bodies. Who would have dealt such a harsh blow to the Taoist priests who had already abandoned their worldly feelings and focused on cultivation? Village Chief Wang gathered all the items needed by Sangluo and walked in from outside the yard, only to hear his wife muttering something here. So he shouted sternly, "What are you talking nonsense about here again?" Lu Lan furrowed her eyebrows and sparks shot out of her eyes. "Nonsense. Did I just talk nonsense? If it weren't for you listening to the old master's words, saying that our Nyo is a celestial evil lone star with a hard destiny and suitable for cultivation, in order to break the fate of restraining her father and mother, then you would have sent our Nyo to Cangyun Temple and contracted such an evil thing. What kind of good father are you pretending to be here now?" "Ah bah. When I heard that Nyo had conquered her parents, I jumped and wanted to send Nyo to practice, but it was you Wang Dafa, not me Lu Lan." Me. Wang, the village chief, was momentarily stuttered by his daughter-in-law's words. "I wasn't confused for a while back then. It is precisely because of this incident that village chief Wang has always felt ashamed of his own daughter. If it were not for him, Nyo would not have contracted this evil thing. So even after Lu Lan gave up the idea of saving Nyo, he still insisted on removing the evil things from Nyo's body. Otherwise, his conscience will never be peaceful." Sangluo ignored the two couples who were arguing and walked straight towards village chief Wang, taking the bamboo basket from his hand. "Thread the black thread through the sewing needle, insert the needle tip from the tip of the black mother egg, and then wrap the black thread at the end of the needle several times around the egg." Sangluo picked up the wrapped eggs and walked up to the two couples who were arguing. He coldly asked, "Which one of you is going to boil the eggs?" I'm going, said village chief Wang quickly. After speaking, village chief Wang ran towards the kitchen with an egg in his hand. Lu Lan made a cut and held her hands on her chest, her gaze fixed on the bamboo forest outside, unsure of what was on her mind. After a while, village chief Wang returned with boiled eggs and handed them to Sangluo with both hands. Sangluo took the hot egg, pulled out the sewing needle at the end of the egg, and then knocked the egg on the corner of the table. The eggshell peeled off, and a very strange pattern appeared on the surface of the egg white. Upon closer inspection, it bears a resemblance to a person's internal organs. Lu Lan's eyes lit up when she saw the egg in Sangluo's hand. Her father, do you think this piece looks like a pig's large intestine? Also, this piece looks like a pig's belly. Chief Wang furrowed his brow and said, you'll be less embarrassing. Then he ran up to Sangluo and asked, how should I use this egg? Sangluo put the egg in the hand of village chief Wang and said, just give it to Nyo to eat. Wang village chief quickly responded, okay. Then he took the eggs and fed them to Nyo one by one. After finishing the whole egg, Nyo suddenly coughed uncontrollably and spat out a pool of black blood. After seeing it, village chief Wang and Lu Lan immediately panicked. Sangluo extended his hand, gesturing to be calm and not agitated. These black blood are the venom left by those snakes in Nyo's body, and it will heal after being excreted. After Nyo finished vomiting, the dark red blood stasis in her eyes gradually dissipated, and her white eyes showed up, returning to normal. Lu Lan and village chief Wang were pleasantly surprised when they saw this scene. All right. Nyo is really great. Lu Lan ran to Sangluo, looked up and down at Sangluo, and then said, I didn't expect you to have several brushes. It seems that I was blind before. Sangluo ignored Lu Lan and turned to village chief Wang, saying, Nyo has not fully recovered yet. It will take another 749 days for her missing lungs to grow. During this time, you need to cook a black hen's egg for her every day. Okay. Got it. Thank you very much, girl. No, thank you very much, master. Village chief Wang bowed deeply to Sangluo. Sangluo shook her head and said, it's a small matter. If Nyo has any further questions in the future, come to Cangyun Temple and find me. After speaking, Sangluo is about to leave. Wait a moment, village chief Wang called out to Sangluo. Sangluo turned around and said, is there anything else? Wang, the village chief, chuckled and said, the old master said that my girl is a celestial ghost and a lone star. I wonder if this matter can be resolved. End of this chapter. 9. Chapter 9 Enron Follow-Up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Enron Follow-Up. Sangluo glanced at Nyo lying in bed, shook her head, and said, don't worry, Nyo's fate as a celestial evil lone star has been broken. The so-called Tian Sha lone star is nothing more than the 8 characters being too hard, restraining the father, restraining the mother, restraining the wife, restraining the son. But this kind of person can often achieve extraordinary things, and countless celebrities and scholars have had this destiny throughout history. In the 8 characters, the one who is used by me is called Ku. If the 8 characters forcefully conquer everyone around her, it is equivalent to everyone around her being used by her, naturally achieving a career. This girl's original destiny was to conquer her parents and then travel alone to a foreign land, becoming a famous female demon in the fashion industry. She remained unmarried and lonely for a lifetime. The old master of Cangyun Temple is kind-hearted and thinks that if Nyo grows up under the feet of her ancestors, it can change her fate of parents passing away early and living a lonely life, allowing Nyo to achieve success in her career while also having a happy family. However, the old master did not anticipate that there were villains who would harm them, and Nyo was also implicated. From then on, Nyo's fate was also changed. She was poisoned by Gu and had a face-to-face encounter with the king of hell for her parents, and the fate of the heavenly demon Lonely Star was also shattered. Having survived this great disaster, she will have a happy family and relationship, but her career will not be as remarkable as her original destiny. Mr. Wang's tone was somewhat skeptical. Is it really broken? Sangluo reluctantly lowered the corner of her mouth, then took out the Huaimu Rui that she had taken out of the Tai Chi bag when she went out, and handed it to the village chief. Village chief, if you provide this rui, everything will go smoothly in your future life. She knew that relying solely on her own words to say that Nyo-Nyo's destiny had already been broken, village chief Wang and Lu Lan still had some worries in their hearts. Whenever something unpleasant happened at home, they would feel that it was the reason for their daughter's destiny. Letting them offer this rui is to give them peace of mind. Wang, the village chief, looked at rui in Sangluo's hand and couldn't close his mouth with a smile. "Thank you very much, Master Sang." Sangluo nodded and turned to leave. "Wait a moment." Lu Lan called out to Sangluo, "You saved my daughter, and we definitely want to give her a thank you." Sangluoyang raised his chin and said, "Didn't you just call me a fairy?" Lu Lan smiled and said, "I'm just a straightforward person with no bad intentions." "The village says you're that kind of person." Some internet celebrity, who came to Cangyun temple to pretend and deceive those online people into giving you gifts. "But today, I saw you, and you have real skills. Don't worry, no one in the village dares to talk about you in the future. I, Lu Lan, will be the first to go up and tear his mouth apart." Lu Lan spoke while patting her chest. Although she had previously thought of giving up on treating Nyo-Nyo, she felt that if Nyo-Nyo's death was a foregone conclusion, the living still had to live well. But after all, Nyo-Nyo was a piece of flesh that fell from her own body, and she was not completely unloved. Sangluo cured Nyo-Nyo, and she was also extremely grateful in her heart. "I don't want money, I want a computer." Sangluo glanced at Lu Lan with a slanted gaze. Mr. and Mrs. Wang looked at each other and smiled, "No problem." When Sangluo returned to Cangyun temple, the drizzle had just stopped. Cangyun mountain is much higher than the other mountains around it. Although Cangyun temple is halfway up the mountain, standing in front of the temple and looking down at the foot of the mountain gives a feeling of overlooking the small mountains. After the rain, a thin mist wrapped around the mountainside, and the air was filled with a fragrant scent of grass and trees. After the leaves were washed by the rain, they became even more clear and emerald green. Sangluo took out her phone and filmed a promotional video called Cangyun Temple After Rain, which was uploaded to the Whale platform. In less than 2 hours, the number of likes exceeded 1 million, and netizens commented one after another. "Human fairyland, too beautiful, it feels like there are real immortals living here." Old fans of Sangluo's live broadcast room have also been settling in the comment section. The blogger is a true immortal. She is particularly skilled at divination. Local people in Rongqing must go to Cangyun temple to pay their respects, as the immortals there are particularly spiritual. Sangluo saw it and a satisfied smile appeared on her lips, leaving the specific address of Cangyun Guan in the comments section. After watching the comments section of his own video, Sangluo went to flip through the hot search list again. Hashtag the little crown prince of Chanshan food was killed by his biological father. Hashtag famous parent. Child blogger kills children. Hashtag the suspect in the murder case has been arrested. Hashtag women should not marry down. Hashtag live broadcast room solving cases. Hashtag fortune telling blogger locks in murderer. Hashtag all the hot search terms related to the Enron incident. A large number of netizens rushed to Sangluo's account for a while, followed and commented under Sangluo's video. Divine calculation, be sure to go to Cangyun temple to pay respects. Upon seeing these comments, Sangluo turned off her phone with satisfaction. A few days later, Lu Lan and village chief Wang arrived at Cangyun temple with a computer and console. Village chief Wang enthusiastically helped Sangluo install it, while Lu Lan smiled and said to Sangluo, "We cooked a black hen egg for Nyo-Nyo every day according to the method you taught, and she has been getting better and better these days. She had 3 bowls of rice this afternoon." Sangluo replied, "Don't eat too much, Nyo-Nyo's lungs haven't fully grown yet." Lu Lan's mouth was full of response. Wang village chief and Lu Lan had just left when Sangluo heard footsteps slowly coming from under the stone steps. After waiting for about a minute, a head with curly brown-red hair gradually appeared in Sangluo's field of vision. The lower body gradually revealed, and the woman was wearing a black suit with exquisite cutting. She wore a white breast flower on her chest and was holding a classic bag from the H family, priced at 800,000 yuan on the market. The person who came is the CEO of Tiantian Food, Enron, who connected in the live broadcast room a few days ago. Upon seeing Sangluo, Enron couldn't help but cry and said, "Master Yunze, thanks to you, I managed to escape the clutches of that dog man. It's just a pity that my son has just turned 9. Yunze is a nickname given by Sangluo Xin to his whale platform account. Sangluo lifted and ran, who was crying like a puddle of mud, and said, "Has that animal been punished?" And Ran nodded and gritted his teeth, saying, "He has already been sentenced to death, it's really a bargain." Sangluo reached out his hand and slapped Anran's tightly clenched fists. "Don't worry, after his death, he will still suffer 200 years of cooking in the 18th floor of hell." And Ran's originally dim gaze suddenly became bright. "Really? That would be great." Sangluo nodded and said, "Of course it's true." And Ran smiled and then turned around to wave her hand towards the person behind her. A young and strong man in his early 20s walked over holding 3 high incense sticks and a pot of sesame oil. That high fragrance is 2 meters tall. With the joint efforts of Enron and the strong man, 3 2-meter-high incense sticks were ignited and inserted into the rectangular incense burner at the entrance of the temple. The fragrant smoke spiraled upwards, and tourists from the ancient town at the foot of the mountain could clearly see the incense burning in the view. With the burning of Gao Xiang, Sangluo received another text message. "Your debit card account, 9996, received a remittance from Tiandi Bank on August 3, with a current balance of 123,456 yuan." Sangluo was not surprised. This was her mission to come to this world and make the incense of Cangyun Temple flourish. The more fragrant Cangyun Guan's incense is, the more funds she transfers into her account. End of this chapter. 10, Chapter 10 Haunted Dormitory. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Haunted Dormitory. Enron filled the main hall with fragrant oil and prepared to leave. Before leaving, Enron stood at the entrance of the observation hall with a hesitant expression. Sangluo smiled slightly and said, "Just let me know if there's anything you need. I'll definitely help if I can." Upon seeing Sangluo so carefree, Enron spoke frankly and said, "My son will be buried in 10 days. Enron paused for a moment and wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. "He died tragically. I want to invite Master Yunze to do a supernatural ritual for my son. I wonder if Master is available." 10 days later. After thinking for a moment, Sangluo didn't need to live stream in 10 days, so she readily agreed, "No problem." Enron smiled and said, "Thank you and the extra money, a total of 1.5 million. I will give it to you together when the time comes." After seeing Enron off, the temple became quiet again and counted the days. Today is Friday. It's time to live stream again. Sangluo returned to the dormitory, opened the computer that Wang Village had installed, adjusted the camera and headphone volume, and then clicked the start button. The incident with Enron made her a little angry online. Many people know that there is a blogger named Yunze who helped the CEO of Tiantian Group identify the real culprit behind the murder. So as soon as Sangluo started broadcasting, a lot of people came into the live broadcast room. Did this anchor calculate the murderer by relying on Chimen Duanjia? Yes, she's really amazing. Although one can rely on their face to make a living, they must rely on their strength. Why only have 2 hexagrams per day? I heard that divination reveals secrets, and if you do too much, there will be 3 drawbacks and 5 shortcomings. Sangluo looked at the discussion among netizens on the screen and pondered for a moment. 3 drawbacks and 5 shortcomings. I haven't heard of it. There are 3 disadvantages and 5 shortcomings in the opportunity for people to vent outdoors, but she is a god. Drizzling in the rain and carrying a rocket, the rain kept walking and brought a lotus pond. Moonlight. The rain kept walking, bringing a heart of the ocean. Drizzling in the rain, I kept walking and brought a beautiful full moon. As soon as Enron entered the live broadcast room, He gave every gift in the gift bar and directly made Sangluo's live broadcast room a headline. Many users have a pop-up message on their phones. Yunza is live streaming, go to her live streaming room and take a look. Wow! Emperor set, first time in my life to see an emperor suit. What is an imperial suit? The emperor set is to brush all the gifts once rich woman. My stomach is not good and I want to eat soft rice. I don't want to work hard anymore. I thought everyone was poor, and I was already poor alone in the live broadcast room, except for the old fan from last time. Few people know that the account that Yu has been using is actually the CEO of Cangyun Food, Enron. Sangluo saw that everyone was attracted by Enron's emperor set and quickly reminded him, there are still 2 hexagrams today. Does anyone have to calculate them? I want to calculate. I want to calculate the peach blossom. I want to calculate my financial luck. On the screen, messages flashed by quickly, and hundreds of people were vying for a divination. You swipe the screen too fast. I don't know who to choose. Why don't I put a lucky bag and everyone grab it? Speaking, Sangluo set up a lucky bag and sent it out. I got it. This is too European, isn't it? How could 500 people grab a spot? It's okay if you can't grab it. It's quite interesting to see the master calculate for others, huh? I think it's more interesting than watching TV dramas. Sangluo opened his lucky bag and looked at the result, saying, please ask the user who calls me not hello to apply for a connection. Okay. Sangluo connected to the video, and as soon as the video was connected, 4 girls in their early 20s appeared on the screen. Behind them were beds and tables, as if they were in the dormitory. There is a girl sitting at the front with a very lively appearance, and I believe she must be someone I don't call hello to. It's so beautiful, isn't it, Mom? I'm in love now. Excuse me, do you have a boyfriend? If not, I would be your boyfriend. Can you stop being so greasy? As soon as the boy in the live broadcast saw my face that was not shouting, hello, he began to crazily fuss in the live broadcast room. Behind me, there were 3 girls with innocent smiles on their faces and a look of foolishness that college students should have. They were staring at each other with big and small eyes from Sangluo on the other side of the screen. Sangluo frowned slightly. How could she feel that the group of people across from her were looking at her like a group of tourists looking at giant pandas? She cleared her throat and then said, a goddess of divination has descended. I nodded and said, okay. I'm not calling for you to send a goddess down. Can't the anchor give away such a beautiful sister for free? I can't calculate divination. If I met such a beautiful girl, I would even stick my panties upside down. Who cares about your stinky shorts? Don't embarrass yourself. Sangluo ignored the debate in the live broadcast room and asked, may I ask what you want to count? I looked at her classmate behind her and said, Master, can you help me catch the ghost in the dormitory? You're doing this again. Where are ghosts? You're just trying to scare us. Before Sangluo could answer, my roommates who didn't call me hello attacked me in groups. One of the roommates with a bun-shaped head said to Sangluo, Master, tell her quickly that there are no ghosts in our dormitory. She keeps nagging all day, insisting that there is a male ghost in the dormitory. That's right, we didn't see it, she did. She must have hallucinated. You guys are really immature. If a beautiful woman says there is a ghost, then there must be a ghost. That's right, the beauty must have her point in saying this. What a beautiful woman says, even if it's fake, it's still true. I don't want to say hello. The people who saw the live broadcast room only superficially agreed with her and were a bit clever, but in fact, they didn't believe that there was really a ghost in the dormitory. So I was a bit anxious and said, there's really a ghost. My face turned red as I didn't call her, and I turned to scan the roommates behind her. Have you forgotten? We went to the Gu building together last month, and I suspect that ghost is the boy who jumped off the building a few years ago. Gu Lu, are you from Rongqing Medical University? I have heard of the ghost incident at the Gu building of Rongqing Medical University. What's haunted? Do you know what to tell me? I know. That's to say, a few years ago, a boy failed to apply for graduate school and couldn't bear the blow, so he jumped off the grid building. Yes, I heard that boy has been doing exceptionally well since he was young. He was recommended to high school and university, but he couldn't be admitted to graduate school. I couldn't help but jump off the building. From then on, every night when passing by the Gu Tower, would hear the sound of falling objects from high altitude, with a thud and a boy's screams, circulating continuously. Ah. Why is this happening? It's too scary, isn't it? I quickly nodded and said, yes. Later, the school closed down the grid building, but last month I was bored playing with 3 roommates and wanted to go on an adventure. There wasn't much to do at that time. After coming back, I could see a male ghost in the dormitory every night. I didn't call my roommate hello, but he didn't agree. It's impossible. Even if there's a ghost in the grid building, why would you come back with us? And all 4 of us went. None of us saw the ghost. You saw it. I argued with reason and said, there really is. That male ghost is still there. I suddenly became a bit stuttering and finally said weakly, he even climbed onto my bed. End of this chapter.